Hey folks, how you doing? This is our YouTube version of our monthly tarot meetup that we normally hold at Panera Bread in Palm City. I am so sorry that we're not there, but I think it was prudent to make that decision. And the great thing about doing this is that it does allow us to meet here online with our friends from around the world. Now, obviously, we do something like that once a month on Facebook called Global Tarot Circle. And if you guys aren't part of that, I hope that you will join us. Let's see what we got here. Papa Squirrel, Marion, glad you're here. Lynn, glad you're here. Lori, very good. You guys got here early. TK, glad you're here. Gibbon25, glad you're here. Marcos. Okay. Hey, you guys. So as people start to come into the room, and we've got quite a big room here already. I really appreciate you guys being here. Suzanne, nice to see you. So Jeannie, glad you're here. Amy, glad you're here. Nice to see you in New Jersey. Lynn, glad you're here. Okay, so normally what we do, as I said, we do this once a month at Panera Bread in Palm City. And we also do it whenever I get a chance to go to the Lutz area of Florida near Tampa. We do it at Panera there. Hey, Giselle, glad you're here. Carol, nice to see you. So, here's the general format. Lori says, I had my YouTube up an hour ago so I wouldn't miss it. Awesome. Kyle Liz, glad to see you from Ohio. So first of all, I hope everyone is staying safe and well. Obviously, we're doing this as a measure to increase our social distancing. To not infect one another. Hopefully none of us are sick to begin with, but we're in a global crisis, and there that is. So what we will do here today, I figure we'll be here for about an hour and a half. And like we do in our live sessions at Panera, and also like we do at Global Tarot Circle. Hey Jill, glad you're here. We like to start out with burning questions. Ozark Oracle, glad you're here. Very good. All right. So here's the parameters here. Oh, thank you guys. Papa says I look happy and healthy. I am. And Suzanne, you're welcome. Thank you guys for being here. The thing is, this is fun. And even when we are able to meet again in person, if people are enjoying this, there's no reason we can't do this here on YouTube as well. It's fun, it's good, and it's nice to gather with our global community. I am so grateful that we have this technology at this time so that we can be distanced but not isolated. So I can see you guys. Hey, Mickey, nice to see you here. I can see you guys are participating in the comments, which is like our chat room here. So please do that. Definitely keep looking and communicate with each other. And this is a difference, too. When we're at Panera, of course, we all like to talk with each other. There's a lot of talking going on. But I also like to teach. I'm there to teach. And I have to tell everyone to be quiet while I'm teaching. Well, here, it's a different story. As long as we keep things on topic, please. There's no reason that we can't both listen to what I have to say, but also share with each other. And I think a lot of the fellowship and the wisdom that can happen here is actually happening because you guys are all typing in and typing to each other. So please do keep that up throughout our time together. TK says, first time even locally, we can't get an office reading. Right. So I have not yet officially closed the office to in-person readings. I am taking all kinds of measures. I was going to show you my big pile of Lysol and Santa cloths and all kinds of stuff, but that's over there. So I did take an in-person reading yesterday and also the day before. One-on-one. Hey, Sally, nice to see you. One-on-one, I will be okay with it for the next couple of days. After that, we are going to lock it down to readings by phone, Skype, FaceTime, Messenger. So one way or the other, wherever you are in the world, I will be available to you. If you are local and you want to come in and see me, reach out. If we can do it in a way that feels safe for people, we can absolutely do it. And Rosa says, love learning and teaching with people in groups. Well, that's just it. I think it was Sally said, my tarot friends are my only friends. And it's hard when we can't see each other in person. So for those of you who do have tarot friends that you can still meet with in person in small groups, what they're saying is groups 10 and smaller. Sanity cloths. No, Santy cloths. Here they are. I have to show you now. Sanity cloths. Santy cloth. It's a medical grade bactericidal, virucidal. They're heavy duty. Because I'm a business, I can get like this heavy duty stuff that businesses can get. So before and after each client, man, I wipe this down. The door handles, everything. Table, obviously. And Ozark Oracle says, my tarot friends are some of my best friends. Yeah. So I want to show you something I developed as part of this crisis. I'll probably make a video just about this. One of the things that most of us do that we appreciate in an in-person reading is letting the client cut the deck. Well, all of a sudden, I don't care. I've got hand sanitizer on my table, but I still don't want you cutting the deck. And yet, it's this really nice ritual. Jill, I found the Santa Claus. It was either Uline or Quill, definitely through a business distributor. And there's pandemic humor going on here. Santa Claus, yeah. Well, none of us have ever been through a time like this. This is brand new under the sun. It's a brand new virus. But this concept of a global pandemic, this is a whole new thing for us to navigate. We can talk about that. Hey, Pamela, nice to see you. So let me show you what I developed for my few remaining in-person clients during this time. Hopefully I'll have plenty of in-person clients once again when this crisis is over. But if you find yourself reading for people, friends, family, whatever, clients in person, and you don't want them to touch your cards, here's what I had them do. Okay, pretend this hand is the table so you can see. So I put the cards on the table in front of them, and I asked them to breathe with me for a minute and to take their right hand and think about sending their energy from the right hand into the cards and just pass the right hand over the cards to put their energy into the cards. And then, again, pretending this hand is the table, I asked them to take their left hand and pass it over the cards. Again, not touching. Pass it over the cards to be open to receiving the wisdom from the cards. So with the right hand, we're putting our energy into the cards. With the left hand, we are opening up to the wisdom of the cards. And it really feels good at the table. It actually almost feels better than my usual, cut the deck any way you like thing, because I'm getting them to focus their energy. So even after this crisis is over, I think I'm going to have this be part of my thing. When you come to sit with me, is the passing of the hand over the cards, intentionally putting your energy into the cards with the right and opening to the wisdom of the cards with the left. So I thought I'd share that with you if you find that helpful. Okay. So we have a couple of topics we're going to work with here today. I tend to ask people who are going to be at the meetup, hey, what would you like to cover? And I got a couple of good ideas, one from Jill, one from David. So we're going to work with those later. But when we start, I like to open up with burning questions. And Ozark says, yeah, a good tip. It still gives the clients a chance to really feel a part of the reading. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if there would be, there might be a way, even with distance readings, and I do a lot of distance readings, even during normal times. I probably do more work on phone, Skype, FaceTime, Messenger, Duo, WhatsApp than I do here in my office. And maybe there's a way, just ask them to focus on their hands and focus on the right hand and the left hand. Okay, so TK is bringing me back to topic. Burning questions. Yes, we will start with burning questions. So this is how this is going to work today. It will be similar to our format in Global Tarot Circle and also at Panera, but a little bit different. So first of all, a burning question is any question you would ask a room full of tarot readers. It could be a question about tarot, about a particular deck, about a card that you got that you didn't understand, about a reading technique, anything you'd like to know about tarot. You've got a room full of tarot readers here. Don't be shy. There is no such thing as a stupid question. Now, if you would like a reading, we can get a little reading practice in here. What we do for Global Tarot Circle is you ask your question in the comments. I try to go in order. I will pull one card to answer your question, and then anyone else in the room who wants to will pull a card and put the name of the person they're reading for, and that's important. We got 35 people here. The name of the person you're reading for, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. If I read for you, then you need to read through the comments to get the rest of your reading, and of course comment back to the people who are reading for you. That way you really are getting a reading from the whole group. Now, if you are a reader and want to participate in this, we will move fairly quickly. You don't have to do every person, maybe do every other one, because it's quicker for me to talk than it is for you to type. And I try to move it pretty quickly. So maybe do every other one, maybe just do the ones you feel like you'd like to do. When we do this around the table at Panera Bread, we will generally make a list of the people's questions and then choose 5 people or so to answer each question, and that's how we get through that. We generally get 20, 25 people around the table in person. We're a bigger group here because we're able to welcome our friends from around the world, which is just fabulous. Thank you guys for being here. Now, and Pamela says, I never want people to touch my cards, virus or not. I don't blame you. I absolutely don't. Marion says, my Crow Tarot is fired up and ready to go. Hey, David Victor, nice to see you. We're going to do your topic here today, too, by the way. So here's what I would like to do in terms of questions. If you're going to ask a question, please do it in a clear, full sentence about something specific. This time around, let's not do what does the universe want me to know. Let's do specific questions, and let's not just couch it as love life or how does M feel about me? Let's give a full question, something we can give some consideration to. And I see some questions coming in. I see Jeannie has a tarot reader question. We will absolutely get to that. TK says people are behaving normally, but it looks like the world is ending tomorrow. It's weird, isn't it? It is. Now, let's see. I know TK asked a question too, but I was looking for it. Okay. Let me just, Let's start with Suzanne. What do the cards say about the length and severity of this? And if you guys want to do a reading on this right now, you absolutely can. If you've already read on this, please do share. I've shared my thoughts on this before on other platforms, so some of you have heard this. I will tell you it has not changed. And let me share with you my thoughts. I read for a lot of people. And I certainly see canceled trips. I see rearranged plans. But I have not seen, this is not a doomsday thing. This is not the end of the world. It could be a harbinger of changing times. And to me, based on the readings that I have done, it feels a lot, okay, I'm going to date myself here. I'm old. Some of you guys are old too. But I remember a time briefly before the AIDS crisis when, as long as you were protected against pregnancy, and didn't mind if you got a disease that you might have to take some penicillin, sex wasn't life-threatening. And then came AIDS, certainly hit the gay male community first, really hard, really, really hard, but then hit the heterosexual community as well. And all of a sudden, for most people, even the lesbian community, it became an issue. All of a sudden, it changed, after the sexual revolution that the pill brought, it really changed the way we dealt with sexuality in relationships and, of course, in casual stuff. And I'm not advocating any particular behaviors here, one way or the other. I'm just saying, I think that even when this is over and done, it's going to change us in a way the way AIDS changed us. That, AIDS changed us. We still date. We still have relationships. But it's a little different than it used to be. And I think that going forward, our social interactions may change. We may be done with handshakes. We may find other ways of greeting each other. And the way we think about the surfaces that we touch and things of that nature and how we clean, that may be lasting in our culture. So I do feel like this is a difficult thing. And if you lose someone that you love, or if you are stricken by this illness and have lasting lung damage, which can happen, it will change your world forever. But I do not think it's going to be... It's not a doomsday scenario. We will get back to some kind of normal in a couple of months. And in the meantime, it does give us a lot of opportunity to heal and grow in certain ways. I got my guitar here. I'm going to spend more time playing my guitar. It does give us time to look within and to find ways to share with one another. Nonetheless. So that's what I've come from my readings. And here's TK's questions. We'll get to yours in just a minute. Let me just read through. David had echoed TK's question. Thank you. Josephine, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Here with your Shadowscape Tarot. Very, very good. Very good. And Ben from London is here. Bad health diagnosis that's going to affect your life, not coronavirus. Okay, there's a question. We will absolutely get to that question, my friend. Ozark pulled 2 cards asking what to expect in the U.S. a week from now and got the 8 of Wands and Death. Yeah, a lot of change going to happen quickly. And, we saw it this week. Tuesday, we had what I think will be the final in-person class here in the office for a little while. Tuesday, we were talking about meeting in person in Palm City, and it felt okay. By yesterday, with the cases growing, it no longer felt okay. Things are moving quickly. Absolutely. Disco Bunny never liked shaking hands in the first place. Suzanne says so much change is needed. Yes, it is. Okay, so for Suzanne's question, David got the 2 of Pentacles. New stuff is going to be hard to launch. There's more going on here than is immediately visible. There may be dual agendas at work here. Interesting. And Ozark made a really good point. Just as 9/11 changed how we travel. That's exactly right. There will be lasting changes here, for sure. Hey, Cheryl, nice to see you. And David says people are starting to say namaste with the bow in place of handshakes. I love that too. I absolutely do. Okay, MK Lass. Using Ostara Tarot, I asked for length, severity, and what we can do now. Length, Knight of Pentacles, so it'll take some time. Severity, Four of Wands, and what to do, Page of Cups, man. So what to do, communicate with love. And Jill's reading on this as well. So's TK. Okay, and I will not go through and read every reading going forward. You guys have to do that yourself, but I was interested about this topic because it is interesting. And TK, who is Indian himself, says, looks like the Indian Namaste will be the new norm. Absolutely. How cool is that? Some really good readings going on about the virus. So make sure you guys take a look at that. And let me just scroll back and we'll get back in line here. Okay, very good. I heard someone the other day talking about a virtual cocktail party. Or it was a virtual happy hour, that's what they called it, where they all got together with the beverage of their choice, including adult beverages in a video chat. I thought that would be kind of fun, too. I don't know if you guys are up for that at any point, but I'm down. Isn't that funny? You can say you're up for something or down for something, and it means the same thing. I love that. Okay, Ana Luisa, you're Marcos. I get it. You're using your hubby's account. I get it. Okay, very good. Sorry, let me just scroll through here and. Ozark, you liked the Suit of Swords. Okay, good. Thank you. If you guys haven't seen that, it's still available in archive, Making Friends with the Suit of Swords. Okay, this is a little different because it's a community meeting rather than a class, but we will do some teaching here. Okay. So we're going to start with, Jill likes the virtual cocktail party, so does Suzanne. It could be fun, right? It could be fun. Okay. Marion says drunk texting has never gone well. Now, if we do it on Facebook, I can put people in the little box and we can talk, and then if you slur, it will be really funny. Okay, so. Okay, TK has two questions. The first question is one that David echoed as far as people's jobs. How do we see this? How do we see this affecting the economy? And so let's do this because, we're doing some questions that are really for all of us and some questions that are for individuals. If you're interested in reading on the economy in general, just call it economy and tell us what cards you got and what you thought. Now, for TK personally, so TK is going to be moving to Canada soon. He's been working on that for a while. He'll be joining his family there. But with all of this, how will what's going on with the coronavirus affect TK's plans to go to Canada? If anyone would like to read for TK, go ahead and put his name, TK. Shows up as Karen Tillich here. TK, the name of the cards you got, one card. And your interpretation, how will coronavirus affect TK's plans to go to Canada? The Ten of Wands reversed. That makes me think it may take a little longer, but it will all be okay. Okay. So, Suzanne, how may I contribute to the community at this time? Now, the question is, I'm going to ask you to rephrase that, Suzanne, because what community are we talking about? Your home community, the tarot community? Define what you mean by the community, and we'll get back to that. Okay, now we have a tarot reader question from Jeannie. How do you all store your decks? Mine are on the bookshelves in the living room and bedroom. The bedroom decks are what I call my top shelf decks, hard to find. None are in any particular order. Yeah, I have mine. I've got 3 shelves here in my reading room. I'm really lucky. I've got this like 5-room office. I've got an administrative office. I've got a sales area where I have new decks for sale. I've got a big conference room. I've got a lounge. I've got a break room, kitchen area. We've got our own lavatory. It's great. But here in my reading room, this is my reading room. I can do a small class here too at this table. And I have 3 bookshelves with my decks and books in no particular order. And Suzanne says my home community. So what does that mean? Is that the community literally of people who live in your house? I'm not trying to be a pain, but I am trying to make a point about questions. What is a home community? Is that your group of friends? Is that literally your neighborhood? Is that your community during this time? I'm looking for that specific question here. What do you mean? And I'm doing this. I'm not trying to give you a hard time, Suzanne, really. But I am trying to sort of make a teachable point. I have seen tarot work in both ways. You know, sometimes my husband will say, okay, option 1 or option B. You know, or option 1 or option 2. And won't say which it is. And we can read blind. We don't need to really know the question. Just, you know, what does this person need to know about their question? You can pull a card. But on the other hand, sometimes interpretation can be easier if we know the specifics. So anyone want to answer Jeannie's deck storing? Mine are on bookshelves in no particular order. Okay, and Suzanne says my neighborhood and nearby cities. Okay, so how can Suzanne be most helpful? And you know, I try not to interpret too much from a person's question. But when someone asks a question like that, you got to know something about who they are as a person. She wants to serve. Suzanne is a person who wants to serve. So isn't that beautiful? So let's serve Suzanne by answering that question for her. Go ahead and put her name, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. How can Suzanne best serve her local community during this time? The 5 of Pentacles reversed, Suzanne. I think there may be some situations where you can sort of fill some holes, where you can help people who have needs. Even if you put it out on social media or make phone calls or maybe work with an organization, what's not happening that needs to happen and how can I help? What I think this could be very practical stuff. Maybe it's about getting food to an elderly person, which you can do, you know, still social distancing. You know, you don't have to sit down for a cup of tea with them. You know, just, you know, maybe it's about picking up someone's medications. And so I think if you can be out and about for the people who cannot be, helping people get what they need would be really, really great. So let's see what else we got going on here. Okay, Ben from London. Bad health diagnosis that isn't coronavirus. What should Ben keep in mind? Advice what he should think about as regards his new diagnosis. And Suzanne says she's thought about just that kind of thing. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And I love it. You guys are doing a lot of good reading, a lot of good conversation. That is wonderful. Okay, so for Ben, if anyone would like to read for Ben, go ahead and put his name, the name of the card you got in your interpretation. What does he need to know about his diagnosis? What should he keep in mind? And of course, we are so sorry. We are keeping you in our prayers, of course. What does Ben need to know here? And you know what? This is a teachable moment, you guys. Because so often in tarot groups, they're like, no, we're not going to read on health. We're not going to read on health. This is exactly a good use of the cards, isn't it? Yes, it's about health. But it's not making a diagnosis. It's not making a prescription. It's none of those things. It is simply helping him, helping Ben deal with something that is happening. And I think that is a very, very good use of the cards and a very, very good use of our skills. So if you'd like to join me in reading for Ben, do go ahead. Ben, I am so sorry you're going through this. The Hierophant. Okay, so for me, the Hierophant can represent a doctor. And so it's a matter of seeking the right professionals, medical professionals, maybe also holistic professionals, and any professionals, seeking the professionals that can help you and really following their advice is going to be very good. We can also look to the Hierophant as a spiritual guide. So seeking spiritual guidance as well, basically seeking the help of every professional, of every authority that you can find is really what you need to do here. Okay. Let's see. Looking for the next question. Oh, interesting. MK Lassen is interpreting the Page of Cups as turning inward, looking within. That's good. Okay. Light frequency healing. What is the meaning of this, which happened a few weeks ago? A crow landed on my shoulders. Wow, how often does that happen? Sweeping the driveway and a crow lands on the shoulders. What is the meaning of that? Yeah, that's a great question. And of course, we can look a lot at crow and crow energy and crow magic and what that means. But I think that is a great thing to do a reading on. How should light frequency healing interpret? Okay, I'm touching my face, you guys. My nose itches. I'm all alone, though, and I'll be able to wash my hands. Man, it's so hard, isn't it? Okay, sorry. All right, light frequency healing. If you would like to read for light frequency healing, let's just put the first name as Light. The name of the card you got and your interpretation. I know, it's crazy, right? Right. That's such an unusual thing. That must have freaked you out a little bit. What did it mean when the crow landed on the shoulder? How should this be interpreted? And this is such a good teachable moment for a tarot reading, isn't it? Okay. The Nine of Cups reversed. I believe, here's my interpretation of that. I'll be interested to see what other people have to say on this too. I believe that the crow is there to tell you. David says, keep my keyboard clean. Yeah, no doubt. I believe the crow is here to tell you that if there's something in your life that you don't like, you can take charge of it and change it. Light frequency healing, I think this is a very, very powerful message of your own power, of your own ability to take charge and create change in your life. That's what I think. Okay. See what other people have to say. Okay. Roses. I'm thinking of joining a coven-like sisterhood and or starting a spirituality-based business. I think one will help the other, but I have some reservation about them both. What do the cards say? Okay, interesting teachable moment here. With a question like that, it's really a two-part question that in a weird way could be connected, but isn't necessarily. And so I'm going to do two cards, and I would encourage you guys, anyone who wants to read for roses, I would encourage the same. Go ahead and put the name, Roses, R-O-S-A-S, and the name of the card you got for each thing, if you choose to do it that way, and what you think. So the joining of the sisterhood and the starting of the business, I'm going to do one card for each. Let's see what we got. see what we got here. Okay, for roses, joining this sisterhood. Ace of Wands reverse, man, I would think twice about that. It may sap your strength, sap your energy. You may not want to be putting energy into that. That may not be the right group for you. And a second card for starting the spiritually based business. Five of Swords, it's a fight, but here's the thing. If you want to put your energy into it, put your energy into it. Don't be screwing around with these other things. Direct your energy. If you're going to do it to win. And do it. It's okay to do it. But don't think it's going to be easy and don't divide your energy down. That's what I'd say. See what other people say. We've got a lot of good readings going on here. Okay, let's see. Okay, MK Lass. I knit little pouches for my tarot deck, so this is good, and keep them on a little bookshelf. That's mostly just my mindfulness tools, no particular order. Gotcha. Okay, I like it. I like it. Roses keeps the decks in the original boxes. If they're sturdy, use a cloth or pouch. If not, okay, lots of good readings going on here. Okay, lots of similar cards come up. This group reading process is a lot of fun, isn't it? And by the way, we do this Global Tarot Circle. It's a Facebook group. You can go ahead and join it. We do, if you're on Facebook, and we do it once a month. And, you know, you guys are so awesome. We should probably just do this here once a month, too. And as soon as the coast is clear, we will start meeting again regularly. And for those of you in different areas, if you are interested in starting a local tarot group and you want to know how to do it, I've been doing this for years in a lot of different areas. So reach out and let me know, and I'll try to help you. Oh, Papa Squirrel, I think it's a great thing for readers to be able to I think it's a great thing for readers to be providing calm and collective feedback to our community to help give some healing to others and hopefully help alleviate some panic and fear. Very nice, very nice. Right, light frequency healing is Giselle. You told me that. In one ear, out the other. There it is. Okay. Cree Almighty is here from Orange County. Very good. Okay, very good. Okay. And timing. Carol asked about the timing of the coronavirus. I think so far we've had the consensus that there's quick change, but it will last for a while, maybe a few months that will be affected by it. I think that's what people have been saying, yes? Okay. Don't worry, Disco Bunny. I think we're going to keep this going. Absolutely. Because we're having fun. Aren't we having fun? We should do this once a month, right? And I also, remember, I do a free live class here on YouTube, on my YouTube channel once a month as well. The next one is going to be working with 2-card spreads. Suzanne belongs to the Denver Tarot Meetup. Jill says, I'm looking forward to in-person meetings again. Because I'm eating while I'm typing and my keyboard is getting sticky. Right. Well, the sharing of food is fun, you know? And that's like exactly the kind of thing we shouldn't do if we're trying not to share germs. But I think like I always like to have snacks here when we have classes. Because, the sharing of food is fun. And it feels good, and it's good for community, right? I grew up in the Methodist church, man. We always had food. It was always a potluck. So there you go. Disco Bunny says, one great thing about the quarantine is I'll catch you live more. And I've been thinking I'm going to be live more. I'll be live on Facebook more. Maybe I'll be live here more, too, because you guys are awesome. And just because, A, I'm not out and about as much as I was, so I have a little more time. And B, I think it is so important. It's like what Papa Squirrel was saying. I think it is so important that we have this opportunity to meet together and share space together. If we can't be together, if we can't give each other a hug physically, we can still do it. Marion says, I found a good way to track the virus by looking at the astrology of it. Oh, it seems to be tying in with the Saturn transits and the moving into the age of Aquarius. I agree. Lynn says, definitely keep this format going, and so we shall. Okay, from Josephine. I have a question regarding a creative collective that I'm spending a lot of time and energy with but have trouble finding my purpose with. How can I find more purpose and joy within this collective? Great asking of question. That was exactly the kind of specific question I was looking for. Do we need that kind of specific question to do a great reading? No, it's just what I wanted today. And so I appreciate you complying. So if you would like to read for Josephine, go ahead and put the name, and I may be pronouncing the name completely badly, and if I am, please let me know. My name is Christiana. My name is Christiana Gaudet. You can imagine that people butcher both the first and last name constantly. I'm forgiving about it, but I really appreciate it when people take the time to ask me how to say it correctly. So please, if I mispronounce anyone's name, please forgive it. And please try to give me some clues on the right way to say it, and I'll really try to honor that. Okay, so I'm calling you Josephine for now. I hope I got it right. If you would like to read for Josephine, go ahead and put the name, Josefin, and the name of the card you got and your interpretation. What's the purpose within this group? How does this person find purpose and joy within this group? That's the question. 3 of Swords. So. I could come up with a number of answers there. Let me give you and here's a teachable moment too. If you're not sure what to say it all and let the person pick. So with the 3 of Swords, my first thought is, are you sure you want to be there? Maybe you're not finding purpose and joy because it's not a great fit for you. And if that's the case, that's okay. Now, it's also possible that you are there to be a healer, that you are there to help people. Josephine said I'm getting it correct. Okay, good. You may be there to help people heal, and you may be there to be the one who says the hard things, communicates the hard things, and facilitates the difficult communication. If this creative collective is about doing heavy work that facilitates healing, work that makes a statement, then you may be part of facilitating that. So we'll see what other people have to say. And there is support to keep this format going from Lynn and from a few other people, so we certainly will. And what a gift of the coronavirus is we're inspired to do this meeting. Okay, lots of readings going on. Okay, so if you're still doing readings, keep it going, but I'm going to shift us here. We're at our halfway point. I said we'd meet together for an hour and a half, and we're at 45 minutes. So now, we have 2 topics to discuss. If you don't like the topics, you can tell Jill and David, because it's their topics. The first topic is going to be about the art in tarot and how the art in tarot influences our interpretation. And the second is going to be tarot magic for our day-to-day lives. David likes this format. Okay, cool. And for Rose's, Rose's got a lot of wands. That's cool. Okay, very good. So, let's take a look and let's stay on topic, if we could, please. We're going to start with Jill's question, and I'm going to try to phrase it the way Jill said it to me. It was at our last in-person class. I just happened to grab her in the hall and say so, she usually does come and is a very important part of our in-person meetings. What should we talk about? And she said, well, a lot of us use different tarot decks, and since we've already talked about how we store our decks, and I have 3 bookshelves full of them, and you guys seem to have a lot too. Many of you, not all of you, but many of you. And those of you who don't have a lot of decks, it may be predictive to say, well, perhaps you will gain more decks. And, oh, Mickey likes the format too. Okay, cool. And so, we recognize that however you look at it, oh, reversals. Yeah, reversals. That's a thing we can talk about too. We'll probably do a whole class on reversals. Okay, so I was getting ahead of myself here. Okay, what Jill said is, if I'm looking at one card and I'm looking at the Queen of Cups and she's looking away, it makes me think of one thing. And if she's looking at the cup, it makes me think of another. So, how much does the art influence our readings, and how much should it influence our readings? That's kind of the question as I got it from Jill. If I didn't quite get the whole feel of that question, go ahead and type in, and we'll add to that. And so I'm going to chat for a few minutes about what I think here, and I'd love to hear, we all have our own way. We all have our own way of connecting with our decks, and therefore we all have our own way of connecting with the art on the decks. There is no right or wrong. There is apparently a lot of support here for a full class on reversals. We will make that happen. Okay, Lindsay likes Jill's question. So first of all, and Josephine said, wow, I got some chills as well. Cool. Okay, good. Oh, and Jill says it was the King of Cups, not the Queen. Okay, gotcha. All right. So first of all, we recognize that there are numerous tarot traditions. Marseille, Crowley, Waite. Waite is the most popular tradition. I'm a Waite reader, so that, when you study with me, when you work with me, I am coming from a very Waite place, although you may have noticed I am a Waite girl who sometimes uses Crowley keywords. And I don't do much with TDM. I don't do much with Tarot Marseille. So if you're a Marseille person and looking for instruction from me, I can't help you a lot. You probably know more than I do. Again, we all have our own way of dealing with the cards. And so if what I'm going to say to you about how I work resonates not at all, and I can't do that at all, fine. Tarot is completely operational. If you get good results with the way you do it, then you're doing it the right way. That's how this works. But in this forum, we can share our ideas. I've been a full-time tarot professional for more than 25 years, so what I share with you, I know works for me. I've taught a lot of people to read, and many of them are professional readers now, so that, whatever they got from that instruction worked for them. But please do not think that what I'm going to say here is how you should do it or is more authoritative than what resonates in your heart and what works for you. All right? Let me go back and look at some of the comments, and then I'm going to share some thoughts and ideas. And I pulled out some different cards to share some thoughts here. Okay, Pamela. Art is extremely important for me personally. I have a master's of fine arts, so that makes sense. But Pamela, how is it important in your tarot practice? Share. Okay. Suzanne says the art of the tarot cards can be so reflective of the deck creator's energy. So Suzanne, since in this community we tend to get to know each other, we go to conferences and meet the artists. And if you want to do that, come to StarCon in January. How is that? And we meet them online. It's a good question. If you find you don't resonate with the artist, you don't like the way the artist presents, does that mean you also do not like the deck? Or can you separate the person from the deck? That's an interesting question too. David says, I always refer to the weight deck as the Weight Rider Smith deck. Never forget the contribution of Pamela Coleman Smith. Absolutely. She's probably the main reason civilians have paid attention to the tarot. And isn't it interesting to note that Pamela Coleman Smith created the deck at A.E. Waite's direction over the course of 3 months when she was just 19. And she referred to it as a big job for very little money. Isn't that great? Okay. Josephine, I find the art is really important when feeling about the cards. Looking at the cups, for example. Are the cups upside down? Are they spilling out? Does it matter in the cards? Elements of color. Absolutely. Roses, I think the art will change the readings because the symbology in tarot is visual, the language is in the symbols. The meanings are similar, but the energy of the art deck creator may be different. Is it possible to post a photo here? I have my King of Cups from 3 different decks. Wow, see if you can. I don't know. See if you can. Pamela, it gives questions for meaning and really deepens the experience. Oh, cues. Sorry, cues. It gives cues for meaning. Speaking of art, art gives cues for meaning and deepens the experience. I know the traditional meanings, but that is only a jumping off point for me. Intuitive and fluid style reading is my jam. All right, that was really helpful, Pamela. Thank you. So here's what Pamela says. She knows classic keywords and interpretations. And I'm assuming, let's say she's using the classic keywords and interpretations that are typically associated with weight, let's say. But if she reads a deck by another artist, the art may stimulate something else. The art may be the jumping off point for her intuition and for what she sees. Tell me if I didn't get that right, Pamela. Disco Bunny, who is also named Kristen, by the way. Art matters. It helps me get new perspectives. It's like reading books in different languages. It expands you. Wait, girl at heart. High five. Use new decks to build deeper understanding of the cards. Oh, very good, very good. Lindsay says, I believe that different decks will give me different cards for readings because of the symbolism on the decks. Yeah. Pamela says it can also make it more personal. Yes. Marion says, the art in the cards is important to me in that I have to like it. Interesting. Okay. But I've read with beer mats once when I forgot my cards and it still did a good job. You go, Marion. You are a consummate professional. I have often said I could read with 78 pieces of numbered notebook paper. And there are some decks that are really devoid of art. Like, for instance, I didn't bring it out here, but I'm wondering if I can lay my hand on it real quick. Yes, I can. Hang on. For example, guys, Orbifold Tarot. This is a really fun deck. When you say, how much does the art matter to the reading? Orbifold by Michael Bridge Dixon, I believe his name is. Here's the star. They're all orbifolds in different colors. Here's Justice. The Knight of Fire, which would be the Knight of Wands. So we got no pictures of people doing things. Do you find this kind of thing evocative? Here's your Seven of Swords. Now, if you work with him, and he has a whole Facebook group, if you like this, you can join his Facebook group and work with it. He has very clear reasoning for how he created each card. It's not like he just threw it together. Here's Death. So could you read with a card like this? Could you get enough off of it? It's an interesting question. Okay. From Jeannie, a deck's artwork aids me in the readings by helping explain what's going on behind the suit and or number. Disco Bunny, I'm with Roses. The art can change the meaning. Mickey, I wasn't super keen on the weight deck until I discovered the Radiant Wise Spirit deck. Pam's illustrations with watercolor stained glass coloring. Now I'm a fan. So same art, different coloring can make all the difference. Sure, sure, sure. Todd says, Pamela was an intuitive as far as I can tell. As she got further on into her life, like she was not a professional reader ever. She was a storyteller. She was an artist, and she was a devout Catholic. Enjoy that. I noticed something several months ago about the hand she illustrated in her deck and how they relate to the cards in a palmistry context. Oh, how cool. How cool. Pamela says, every artwork has energy and intention. Visually, this can stimulate and deepen the readings. Roses, I need to connect. Okay, not me. I need to connect to the art, color, meaning, symbols, energy, spiritual traditions, and deck. It all goes together. I can use different tarot systems, though. Pamela says, I kind of consider Orbifold almost as its own thing. Okay, so let me share with you how it seems to work for me, and then also show you some different cards to play with. Josephine says, that's beautiful. I'm now very curious about the reasoning and the design of the deck. I think it would be difficult for me right now. But it is a beautiful deck, right? It's cool. So it's a self-published deck called Orbifold. You can look it up. All right, so here's the thing for me. I have what I call a deck in my head. This is how, like, I can read with the Orbifold, no problem. I could read with 78 pieces of notebook paper, just doesn't matter, okay, in this way. Because over time, and I started with the weight deck, so that was my first deck. So if you say Six of Swords, I'm going to think about the weight Six of Swords. No matter what deck I'm working with, I'm going to think about that. But over time, I've collected some images in my head that I really like. And so whatever deck I'm reading with, I am going to think about all of the cards that I have in my head for that deck. So when I learn a new deck, that just goes into the deck in my head. And whatever deck I'm working with, those cards are going to be there, if that makes sense. Now, for me, do the images of the particular deck I'm working with influence my reading? Here's the thing. If I'm reading with a deck, and I will say this to all of you, if you find yourself saying, I always see this in a particular card, be it in any deck or in a particular deck, I always see it this way, this is a place where I'm going to ask you to rethink that. Any time that you're always saying always about a card, you have let go of the possibility of intuition. And so I think you can sometimes see a card a particular way, or even often. But I think in the oracular moment, that's a Marcus Katz term, by the way, whatever. In the oracular moment, we have to let the cards speak. And at that point, different art may speak differently. But it's also true that the same deck, even if you're working with the same deck, there have been times I've seen a card, say a page or a knight, and in that particular reading, I am pretty sure, let's say I'm looking at the Page of Wands, say. And the Page of Wands comes up for Mrs. Smith, and I am very sure I'm looking at her son, and it's male. I might be reading for Mrs. Jones in the next hour, and that same card will come up, and I'm sure it's a girl. The deck didn't change, but how it presented to me in that moment did. And so to be able to see a card in a different way, person to person, I think is part of how the art can work with intuition. So there's that. Does that make sense? Now, let's see. Jeannie says, decks like Michael's, the Orbifold, are hard for me to read. I feel the same with Marseille-style decks. Yeah, I'm not a Marseille reader particularly. Very stylized dragon deck that's also difficult to read. Okay. Marion says she has a deck in her head as well, which is why you can read with beer mats. And that's the difference. If you have a deck in your head, you can really read with any deck. I can read with a TDM, but I'll be superimposing other cards onto it. I don't know TDM tradition. Pamela says, for pick decks, I find I really like TDM because the objects have intention and placement and everything has meaning. But non-Marseille pip decks are hard for me because they feel blank and lacking meaning. There you go. Mickey, I was surprised to see the Knight of Cups as someone releasing a vial of disease. Oh, brilliant. When doing a reading on COVID-19. I never saw that card in that way before. It surprised me. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. And that is such a good example of how this kind of thing can work. You may never see it that way again, but there it was. And that brings up something I wasn't going to bring up, but will. You know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. I will shut down a conspiracy theory so freaking fast. But I know a very reliable bio-engineer who absolutely believed that COVID-19 was manufactured as a bioweapon. Just saying. So, so interesting that you saw that. That is so cool. Okay, very good. So now, all this being said, in that oracular moment, in the moment of a reading, how a card is drawn can mean different things. So let's talk for a minute about the 10 of Pentacles. Maybe even pull out your own 10 of Pentacles if you would like. And when we look at, say, the weight 10 of Pentacles, it's a very clear thing. In the weight 10 of Pentacles, it is the one time that the Kabbalistic tree of life is illustrated in that deck. That makes it very interesting. We see the grandfather, his kids, his grandkids, his vineyard, his dogs, his coat of arms. And that's the image. How does that compare for you with this spiral tarot image where we see many, many generations of ancestors versus Ciro Marchetti's 10 of Pentacles from Tarot Grand Lux? Would I read these cards the same way in a reading? Maybe yes, maybe no. You know, here we do get the sense of saving money for retirement. Here we get a very clear sense of the ancestors. I will say these are both in my deck in my head. But what do you guys think about that? I mean, these are very different illustrations. How does that feel? How does that feel? Okay. Very good. So, you know, so there are some people who may also think that this was a manufactured thing. But let's go back to my 10 of Pentacles. What do you think? Would you feel differently? And would that cause you to choose one deck over another in a particular situation? Now, I wanted to show you some other illustrations, particularly from Spiral Tarot, because it is one of my favorite decks. And it is sort of a weight-based deck, but it's a little different than weight. Ace of Pentacles. You know the traditional Ace of Pentacles. Here comes the hand of God offering you a pentacle. What if instead it was the root of a tree? Would you read it differently? Do you see it differently? Or do you have to wait to see how it strikes you in the reading? My feeling is it's really about how it strikes me in the reading, and I'm going to remember all these other images as well. Rosa says, I like the more traditional images with the big family. Cree Almighty says, they feel different to me. Different illustrations give me different energies. I do tend to choose different decks for different reasons. Lindsay says, I would definitely read those cards differently. The Marchetti feels miserly. The others feel like giving back. Right. And so, you know, different readers get their information in different ways. So that's interesting to note. Let me share another one with you. The Two of Swords. If we think about the Two of Swords in the weight image, you know, we know the crossing off of the heart, the two swords, the blindfold. Here, same thing, but now we're on a tightrope. Would that make a difference? What do you think about that? Would that make a difference? Okay, Disco Bunny. Kristen, I always lean toward the weight types. I have trouble with the others, but I do like to Google the card images and look at them all. And Jill says the Marchetti card reminds me of the Four of Pentacles, holding on to money. Jeannie says I would interpret them differently, but based on what's on either side of them. Right, so we all have our own ways. It's an interesting thing. I would just really vote for being present in the moment. I heard someone, a very well-known reader once, talk about setting the meaning of a card. Like when you get a new deck, looking at each card, looking at what the artist had to say about it, and setting a meaning in your mind for that card. And I thought that was not a great technique because it does not leave room for intuition at the table. Okay. Pamela, also have to remember that different clients need to hear and see the message differently. So I'm called to use a deck based on my gut for that client. Artwork plays a big role in that, I'm sure. Now, regarding the tightrope on my Two of Swords, from Suzanne, tightrope brings more of a sense of urgency to making a decision. Sure. Very good. From Star, each card I feel is picked up intuitively along with the weight definitions. Right. Disco Bunny, Two of Swords, the tightrope makes it way less peaceful. More like a faith walk, not how I interpret the two normally. Ms. Silver, yes, on a tightrope, there is much more emphasis on being extremely careful before you make a choice. Todd, I like that image. That Two of Swords would link better to the number 2 as in creativity. From Mickey, I am definitely of the opinion that the card images will change the interpretation. I use traditional meanings, but intuition supersedes traditional meanings in a spread. Jill, the tightrope tells me it's a precarious situation. Make the right decision or it will be a disaster. Don't care for that. Lindsay, I also like doing deck interviews to find out what the deck reads well with and where it's strong. Oh, gosh. Okay. So, yeah, that's a thing. I have to say that is a very modern thing. 10 years ago, none of us were doing deck interviews. I have seen it work in a very poignant way, in a very helpful way, but I would just say also take it for a test drive. I wouldn't rely just on the interview. And I think, the rise of deck interviews has really come with the rise of animism in tarot. And I'll be very clear to say I am not an animist in any way, shape, or form. I don't disrespect those who are. But for me, I'm not comfortable with the idea that my deck itself is alive or has a personality. But I know other people feel differently. So that's the thing, though. When you think about how you're going to work with your decks, you have to figure out how much of an animist are you? How much do you believe that your deck itself has a personality, an opinion, any of those things? I feel like my cards are tapping into something larger that is of tarot, but apart from tarot. I am more an archetypal reader versus an animist. But, that's not to say one is better than the other. Whatever works for you. Again, it's all operational at the end of the day. Josephine, I find the tightrope situation more serious and focused. You can only go back and forth. Lynn says, I think each version skews the meaning, giving more emphasis to one aspect or another. Yeah, that can absolutely be. A good example of that is in Jeopardeezy Tarot, where the Emperor card is actually called war. She took one keyword from all the possible keywords, and that became the card. It's a thing. Okay, Roses, I agree with everybody about the tightrope, and I can see reading with the tree versus hand with the Ace of Coins very differently as well. I like them both, but I do like the hand with the Sword of Justice. Yeah. Mickey, tarot is a tool for me. The wisdom comes from within or spiritual knowledge. Yep. Marian, the deck is the tool. You're the conduit for the message, in my opinion. Star, everything has energy. Right, but the question is, where did the energy come from? And again, all answers are equally valid. I absolutely believe that the deck has energy, but I think primarily the energy came when I did my ritual with the deck when I first got it, and I put my energy into it. Now, however, we've also said the artist puts their energy into it, so what is it? Where does it come from? It's an interesting thing. Now we've got David Victor here, who is a psychometrist. He knows that everything has energy because he reads the energy off of it. But again, is he reading the energy of the object or the energy that people have put into it? That is the question. It's an interesting thing. Hey, Stacy, nice to see you here. I find it points to one needing to find internal balance. Is that this? Absolutely. So really interesting conversation. Kyla's energy comes from the connection you form with your deck. Now, okay, so I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into that. And I'm going to say, so if I am reading for someone who is also a reader, I will offer to read with their deck if they want. They can have a reading with their deck from me, and I'm able to do that. How did that happen? Interesting question. Okay. Ms. Silver, the deck for me is the creator's understanding of the card, so their understanding adds to my take in the card. I love it. Adds to. David Victor, thanks for ringing in. How much I feel the deck is dictating the reading depends on my own level of self-confidence at the time of the reading. Steve Humsack, nice to see you here. I would say both. So it's a really interesting conversation, isn't it? And there's no right or wrong. Nobody really knows. It's just how you see it, what's comfortable for you, what works for you. And this is where our ability to be able to gather together and have this conversation is so profoundly helpful. And Star, also what the card is made from: paper, trees, elements, man or woman, energy. Right. It's an interesting thing. Very interesting. All right. Thank you for a great conversation. I hope you guys found it helpful and enlightening. No right answers, just lots of different ideas. But if you take an idea that works for you or helps you to solidify, either by saying, yeah, that's not how it is for me, or yes, that is how it is for me, that helps you grow, right? So again, you don't have to agree with whatever you hear or what someone else says. Whatever you hear, however you react to it, helps you get stronger in yourself as a reader. So there you go. Okay, now let us shift to David Victor's question, which is what we're going to deal with for the rest of our time here today. And this is tarot magic, and specifically tarot magic for your day-to-day life. So, what do you need? What do you need? Oh, let's just see this. I think we talked about the economy, TK. It's going to be all right. It'll be all right. Roses, to me, it's both animism-like and a tool using archetypes. It's both. Look at you. Both relate to higher power, either deity or the collective cosmic consciousness of humanity, and Jungian psychology, or both, higher truths. I'll say something else going back. That was awesome, Roses. Thank you. Going back to TK about the economy. Here's the thing. The powers that be really want the economy to go well, and so what they're doing, we'll pay for it later. But they will do what they can to keep the economy as stable as possible. It's not going to be as bad as it feels. It'll be okay. Not great, but okay. It'll be fine. All right. Now, tarot magic. How can you improve your personal economy? When we talk about magic, Pamela, interesting question. Are there decks that you won't read for clients because of the artwork? Yes. I have decks that I really like, but clients find them dark or offensive or whatever. You know what a weird one was? Cat Black's Golden Tarot. I love that deck so much, but even the happiest cards there, because it's all medieval, feel kind of dark to people, and clients one after the other would say, oh, that doesn't look like a good card. And they're seeing the sun. They're seeing the most positive cards ever. So I can't read with that deck professionally because clients don't like it. So there it is. I definitely, I go for what pleases the clients as well as what's easy for me to read with. Okay, so tarot magic, specifically tarot magic for your day-to-day life. Do you do tarot magic? And when was the last time you used tarot to manifest something in your life, and how did it work? Let's hear your stories. While you're getting your stories together, I will tell you I do a lot of tarot magic. I don't do it cavalierly. I wait until there is great need. Marion says I won't read in person with my Bohemian Gothic. Jill says I don't like dark decks with dark imagery. So, tarot magic. If I have great need, I will immediately go to my cards to do magic. What have I done magic for? I've done magic to help other people with difficult problems. Kristen says, sometimes I use my cards for magic. I use them to focus my energy and lay out chosen ones to serve like manifestations or prayers. Now I have dedicated my original deck to this purpose. Okay, so Kristen, Disco Bunny, has a deck specifically dedicated to the purpose of magic. Do you guys? That's a good thing. Roses, I love tarot for meditation, manifestation. I should do it more, though. Absolutely. Ms. Silver never has and says, So, let's do this. Let me show you a thing that I do. And again, my way is not the right way. It's the right way for me. If it works for you, great. If not, maybe something else does. Share what works for you. So I've done tarot magic to help others. I will do tarot magic as part of a reading. Simply inverting a card, if that makes it better for people, and saying, join with me in breathing and visualizing this. Say you got the Ace of Wands reversed and you hadn't been feeling well. I would say as part of the reading, okay, breathe with me. We're going to turn this card right side up. Let's welcome your vitality. Let's visualize yourself with greater vitality. So that's a thing. Mickey, I use tarot to figure out what and how to paint. Sold the first 2 paintings with new idea before the paint was dry. You go, girl. Well done. Lindsay, there are 2 tarot cards that I visualize protecting me for energetic boundary work. The Ostara Knight of Wands and the Numius Mystic of Bells. Oh, that is so well done. Beautiful, Lindsay. Good job. Love both of those. So good. So good. So I had a friend going through a court case. I used the Justice card and the Ace of Swords. May the truth be heard and may justice be revealed. It went the way I wanted it to, things like that. So I've just given you 2 examples, something I do in a reading and something I'll do on my own. So let's say there's a great need. And obviously we all have a great need as a planet right now. But I want you to focus on something you need. Do you need more money? Do you need better health? Do you need to eat better and lose weight? Do you want to find a new partner? Think about something you want. And then go through your deck and find a card or a few cards that would represent that thing. So go ahead and do that. If you want to tell us what you want and what card or cards you're using, go ahead and let us know. Let's see. Disco Bonnie, Kristen, a friend having car trouble. I printed the Chariot off online and saged the card and focused on my intention and problem solved. Yes, resolved. Yes, yes, yes. Very well done. Very well done. Very good. And sometimes I'll actually print a card out and give it to the person to carry. You're going to a job interview? I'm going to give you a picture of the Ace of Pentacles and the 3 of Pentacles to carry with you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Marion, I use tarot magic when called to. It's a very intuitive thing for me. The most common is sleeping with a 9 of Swords reversed on my nightstand to help prevent nightmares. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Roses, I'd use any deck for reading, meditation, and magic. I like to be creative and practical in my spirituality, and I only have one deck so far. I like you. Very good, very good. Jeannie, my Circle of Life deck was my first deck after the blue plaid-backed RWS deck. Yeah, that we all started with that. Well, not all, but a lot of us. Those of us of a certain age pretty much all started with that, Jeannie. It's special. I only use it for myself to do deep work. Lynn, never thought of it as magic before, but helped someone find lost articles with tarot. Very good. Kyla's, the Celtic Lenormand guidebook has some great, I love that deck. Great information about setting intentions and choosing cards for spells. And that's Lenormand deck. Yes, absolutely. You can do that. Okay, so have you had a time to think about something that you need or want in your life and find a card that you associate with it? Disco Bunny, I consider reading a meditation and magic a prayer. Sure, absolutely. Lindsay, pulling Numia's Page of Cups to help me connect with my playfulness and inner self. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that. I love that. So throughout this coronavirus scare, and it's more than a scare, it's a thing. Okay, I'll be very honest with you guys. I'm a healthy person. I'm a little older. And I do have some, what are they calling it now? Underlying health issues. I have some of those that would make it very bad if I caught this disease. And, TK was worried about economy. Of course, I am self-employed. Well, I guess I'm not technically self-employed because I own my corporation, but still, I employ myself, really. So I am going to choose the Ace of Wands for the intention that I stay healthy and that my business stays healthy during this time, okay? And when you choose the card and you say its intention, I choose this card because, and this is my intention, that's part of the magic. You're giving it power, just as Lindsay did. Marion, I recently bought a book by Sasha Graham called 365 Tarot Card Spells. It's really good from what I've seen of it. Yeah, there's a lot of good books there, a lot of good things that you can do. I actually keep a blog on Pagan Square called 78 Magical Tools. I don't post there a lot, maybe once a month, but with different ideas for how to use the cards for magic, because I really do believe that your deck is a deck of 78 magical tools. That's why I named it that. So, have any of you chosen a card or a group of cards right now? Lindsay and I both have. Anyone else? What is a card or group of cards that you want to use right now to manifest something that you want or need in your life? Suzanne, I want to be full of life and health. I picked the Empress. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. While you guys are doing that, let me tell you that you can also use the cards to banish something from your life, something you'd like to banish. Suppose you have depression and you want to banish, maybe that would be the 9 of Swords or the 8 of Swords, and you want to banish it. And Jill says, and now we're all Googling 365 tarot card spells. Yep, there you go. So what I like to do, and Marion says leaving the card out on the nightstand overnight. That's a good one. Or if you're going to do a spell in general, just putting the card on your altar with your candles, with your statuary, with whatever else you're using. Stacy, 10 of Cups for a happy family and home. That is a very good one for you right now, Stacy. Mickey, the Knight of Pentacles to keep financials stable. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. That's exactly right. Amy, financial wealth, the Queen of Pentacles. You go, girl. Yes, 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 yes. Roses, aces, kings, queens, 6 of wands, stars, sun, 10 of coins and cups. I can think of so many. Yes, and you can, if you want to put them all out on your altar, just when you place them down, say the purpose of each of them. Marion, I'm not on commission for the book. TK, I want to banish stress, which cripples my energy. So if you want to banish something, pull the card that it is. Say it's the, for TK, say it's the 8 of Swords. Say, you are my anxiety and my stress, and slap it down on the table face down and say, be gone! Do something like that. It can be really helpful. Kylie's, I'm going to pull all the aces to set an intention to bring in strong energies. Well done. Yes. Yes. Roses is using the 8 of Coins. Disco Bunny, 9 of Swords reversed to end literal nightmares, just like Marion. 8 of Swords reversed to liberate my thinking. Temperance to heal PTSD. 6 of Wands, my triumph over that diagnosis. Well done. Sharon Bass, hey, nice to see you here. 3 of Pentacles to reinforce teamwork. Yes. From Marion, I gave a friend the 4 of Wands and the 2 of Cups in her wedding card. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so good. I love that. I love that. So if it's something you're banishing, I really like just putting it face down and slap it down and say, I banish you. You can also print it out and rip it up or burn it. Don't rip up your regular deck, but, print it out. You can do that. Jill Watson, the Empress, helped me come up with ideas for my book, find ways to express myself. Beautiful, beautiful. Other good cards for the writer, the Knight of Swords and the Page of Swords are great writer's cards as well. Also the 8 of Wands and the Ace of Swords. So if you want to use a bunch of cards, you sure can. You can have your own deck. Some people have said they have their own, special deck for this. Or you can just leave them out on your altar overnight. Don't leave candles burning overnight, please. And then shuffle them back in the morning. Okay, Cree Almighty. King of Wands to eliminate self-doubt and give strength in looking for new work, possible career change. Yes. And if you're doing that, you might want to add in the Ace of Pentacles too. You see how we work here. So if you're bringing a card in and you're just doing it, and Kristen also has a deck dedicated to just ripping up. If you end up with a broke deck, a deck where you have a missing card or something, use the rest of it for magic. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what I like to do, if something I'm trying to manifest and I'm just doing quick magic, like here is my Ace of Pentacles to stay healthy and to keep my business healthy, I'm going to breathe with it. I'm going to hold it to my heart. And I ask you to do the same thing here with me. Steve says the Sun for better health. Yes, very good. Star, Magician to manifest good for self and others. Hierophant for health and healing. Yes. High Priestess to connect with spirit and increase intuition. Beautiful. David Victor, I've had a blow up of 2 of Cups in a frame. Oh, good. The one I left up there in my bedroom for years, hoping to manifest love. Hasn't worked. Am I missing something? Put it in your heart, breathe with it, visualize it. So much of magic is visualization. Name it, talk to it, put your energy into it. Having it there isn't enough. You have to put your energy into it. You have to name it. You have to breathe with it. You have to visualize it. Josephine, I'm not sure which card to pick. I find to find more time for myself and create more self-love. I will look at the cards more slowly later and pick one. Thank you for introducing me for tarot card magic. Oh, thank you so much. Any ideas, you guys? What might work great for Josephine for more time and more self-love? For some reason, I'm going with Temperance for that. I don't know. See how that resonates. So again, Jill Watson says, try the 3 of Swords upside down. TK, manifest the Hierophant as my life's purpose. That's good for you, TK. I like it. I like it. So breathe with your card. Breathe your card in. Hold it to your heart. Visualize. Welcome the energy. So often talking to the energy. Right, and here I am. I'm saying I'm not an animist, right? But I'm going to talk to the card. I'm going to talk to the energy of the card. So we know these energies slip and slide, don't they? Don't they? Don't they? And bring in, I'm bringing this energy into my life. Bring it in. Disco Bunny for David Victor, carry the image with you. Tie it to your energy. Yep, absolutely. 4 of Swords, a few people talked about the 4 of Swords here. For Stacy, Ace of Cups. Marion, for more self-love, Ace of Cups and Empress. For Josephine, Hermit, and Temperance. Good ideas, you guys. You guys, I want to thank you so much for being here. We've come to the end of our time. I hope that you found this helpful. Please feel free to make comments even after we're done with ideas for our next time, with what worked, what didn't work. You can message me as well. What worked for you? What didn't work for you? What did you like? What did you not like? How can we do it different or better next time? I have a fervent, is that the word? Strong. I have a strong wish for all of us, a strong vision for all of us to remain healthy, that this coronavirus thing could go away very quickly and do as little damage as possible. I'm looking forward to the next time we can meet in person, but I think there was so much support for us doing this here again on YouTube. We'll do it again. Let's do it every month. Why not? So I'll get that on the schedule and I'll get that out to you. I want to thank you all so much for being here and being part of this. As we do with Global Tarot Circle, and if you're not a member of Global Tarot Circle on Facebook, please join if you're on Facebook. As we do on Global Tarot Circle, now is a good time for shameless self-promotion. If you have something you'd like to promote, go ahead and add it in the comment. Drop a link. Let us know what you're up to. I'll do my verbal shameless self-promotion. I've got 2 books on Amazon, Fortune Stellar and Tarot Tour Guide. Buy them. I am available for readings, phone, Skype, FaceTime, Messenger, Duo, WhatsApp, whatever works for you. Feel free to reach out. I also do mentorship. Wherever you are in your tarot journey, I can help you get to the next level. Very good. Ms. Silver, how do I find out about creating an altar? Let's talk a few extra minutes about altar. So, you can read books that say, well, it's got to be this size and it has to be exactly this way. I'm all about put on it whatever feels good for you, whatever helps your focus. Now, very often on an altar, we have something for each of the 4 elements, and we have statuary to represent deity. You can do that all with a tarot deck. You can use the 4 aces to represent the 4 elements, or the 4 pages. You can use the Hierophant and the High Priestess, or the Empress and the Emperor to represent male and female deity, if you like. You can use whatever cards you want to represent deity. And that may be enough. You may want to put candles, but whatever helps you focus, whatever helps you bring in the energies that you want to work with, that's what I say is good for an altar. What do you guys think? And there are plenty of books. And TK says, banishing coronavirus from this moment. Yeah, man, let's work on that. Absolutely, absolutely. David Victor, on the Healers of South Florida group, we're trying to get rid of COVID-19. We've moved hurricanes before. Can you tell us where that is? Is that on Facebook? Can we join you? Okay, Marion has a YouTube channel. Just click on my name here. Yes, yes, yes. And okay, yes, please like this video and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would appreciate that. I also do a weekly newsletter, Tarot Topics Weekly Newsletter. You can subscribe on my website, christianagaudet.com. Okay, and on the altar for silver, follow your heart. I change mine up. Sometimes photos of deceased ones, rocks, flowers, salt, absolutely. Roses, that's exactly what I was going to say, Christiana. Elements and deity. I also have ancestors and art to stimulate my creativity and peace. Marion, an altar is a space you create for the intention you want. Do what feels right to you. Thanks for being such an open-minded group. Steve says, I make one for the Day of the Dead, 3 levels. Okay, and David Victor, the group is on Facebook. Okay, cool, very cool. All right, you guys. And roses and bells for altars or other instruments for sound healing. Oh, so good, so good, so good. I love it. I love it. So do we have people here who play instruments, guitar, ukulele, drums, anything? There's a part of me that wants to say, we should do happy hour with musical instruments. That would be fun too. Would anyone be down for that? I am, during this time, Oh, the addition of rocks. Yes, 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 yes. Very good, very good. Yes. So I really like the idea that we can sort of create these get-togethers. Happy Patrick's Day to you as well. We can create these get-togethers, and because it's going to get lonely in the next, maybe we should get together and play ukulele right here. The next month or two, it's going to get lonely, and we can't go to a drum circle. So maybe we should play music and drink wine right here. And Lynn says altar crystals as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yes to the crystals. You guys, thank you so much for being here. If we're not friends on Facebook, please friend me. My business page on Facebook is Christiana Gaudet. Thank you guys so much for being part of this. I hope to see you all soon. You'd love to have a musical gathering, right? That would be fun. That would be really fun. So let's try to get these things going. Thank goodness for the internet right now. It's holding us together. Stay safe, stay strong, stay isolated. Spread love, not germs. How about that? And Marion has a drum and a singing bowl. A musical happy hour. Yeah, it's a good idea. Hey, the Ides of March. David says the Ides of March are today. Absolutely, that's so great. Thank you guys so much for being here. We will see you all soon. Take care.